The views expressed on the Nova Society are those of the panelists and guests and do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of the Phoenix Research Institute or any institution which any panel member is associated. Welcome back to the Nova Society, a space where dialogue deepens understanding and civic responsibility comes to life. I'm Dr. Mark Bound, joined by our regular panel, Dr. Scott Gershwer and Dr. Brooklyn Ann Weldon. Together, we'll unpack the stories that matter most, exploring the headlines, the history, and the big ideas shaping today's conversations. Let's dive in and hear what the panel has for us today.
We have a question from Tammy from Bethpage, New York. And Tammy writes, so it turns out Senators Tillis and Cornyn blocked the Blanche nomination for Attorney General because of the anti-weaponization fund, a rare moment of backbones from Republicans. But now it appears the DOJ is moving to rescind that fund entirely. If that happens, those two senators may end up supporting Blanche after all, even though he is uniquely unqualified to serve as the nation's top law enforcement official. So the real question is this: is the anti-weaponization fund truly dead, or is this just political lip service meant to smooth the path for Blanche's confirmation? And if the fund is gone, should Tillis and Cornyn continue opposing the nomination on the simple grounds that Blanche is not competent or qualified to be Attorney General? Finally, if confirmed, what would stop Blanche and Trump from coming up with a new grift scheme? And when is Pirro's head going to be on the chopping block? Nice job on that reflecting pool case, Judge Janine.
All right, Tammy, on fire.
Yeah, Bethpage. I've spent some time down at Bethpage.
Yeah. My uncle golfed at Bethpage Black every single day of his life.
Oh, gosh.
Yep, he loved that place.
He was a glutton for punishment, huh?
He would get there at 4:00 in the morning.
Oh.
Every single day before work. Get in his 18 holes and go to work. All right. So before we say Tillis and Cornyn have backbone, let's be real. Come on. These guys are not coming back. You know, they're sort of in the you only live once caucus of the U.S. Senate. They're not coming back. And oh my God, they discovered that they owned pair when they lost their jobs. So it's not exactly Nobel Prize winning stuff to oppose something that is so abhorrent. And then the next thing I'll say, Mark, and I'll turn it over to you, is that with Trump, nothing is ever dead. If it's a really bad idea that benefits him, it will come back. And, you know, all we're doing right now is waiting to see how it happens. Blanche will be the Attorney General. He will get confirmed, and he will be the worst Attorney General in the history of the United States.
Well, maybe not the worst. Because let's face it, we had Pam Bondi. So... I mean,
Pam Bondi lost her job because she wouldn't go as far as Trump wanted her to do. I don't think that Blanche has that problem.
Well, you know what? You may be very right, Scott. He may not. Tillis and Cornyn, as Scott said, yeah, they grew a pair because, let's face it, they had nothing to lose. I mean, there was really nothing to lose. Their constituents don't matter. Should they change their vote? No. But then again, if we have not seen anything, we do not put people into these positions because they're qualified. We put them in there for political reasons. This is the guy that Trump wants. This is the guy that will weaponize, as you know, the Republicans have always whined that the Democrats do. This is the guy that will weaponize the Justice Department. And, you know, bottom line is that, yeah, he is unqualified, Tammy. There's no doubt about that. You know, what are you going to do? They control it. They're going to put him in, and that's going to be that. I think what we've seen, and if you look at history, in all of the cabinet positions, and I'm talking about all of them, the Interior, I'm talking about Health and Human Services, and all of them, there has always been an attempt, probably going back to, Obama, to find the people that are best qualified or politically aligned but do have a clue to be put into these positions. Trump has this unbelievable ability. Now, I have to admit, he didn't do too bad in his first term in his picks for his cabinet. He had some pretty good people in there, but of course they didn't do what he wanted, and boy, they were gone real quick. This time around, there's no sugarcoating it. He's just putting in hacks and lackeys and people that are going to do whatever the hell he says. I did see the rescinding order from Blanche. It does still make Trump immune to past tax issues, but not future, which I think was Tillis's Cornyn's big issue with this. Although there's a whole bunch of things that should have been an issue with this. Giving money to insurrectionists. I mean, I'm sorry. It shouldn't just have been that one thing. And if nothing shows that Blanche is incompetent for the position, it's having proposed this in the first place. I mean, it's corruption. It's absolute corruption at its core. And I don't care how you try to, put lipstick on this pig. That's all it is. So we're going to have a corrupt attorney general because these two guys are probably, they're probably going to get on board and say, yeah, screw it, whatever. I'm going to focus a little bit. Before I do that, is this going to come back in some way? It will. Like Scott said, if it's a bad idea and it gets blocked, he has always a tendency to try to bring it back. I think something's going to come back. We'll see once Blanche is installed as Attorney General what they can do. Now, the hope is that the American people actually get out and vote in November, vote out these Republicans, take control of the Senate and the House, and then basically they can legislate stuff which can control what is going to be a corrupt Justice Department. And it's not, and let me make very clear, it's not everybody in the Justice Department. There are some really good people in the Justice Department who really want to do their job. This is the leadership. That's all there really is to it. And I just, we have to get out. We have to vote. We have to get that third branch of government to be able to, basically mitigate the issues that we're going to be seeing that are going to come out of a weaponized, corrupt Justice Department. As far as Janine Pirro is concerned, boy, he's already on her about that because he's still going that it's a box cutter, even though the Interior Department said that, no, it's not. And if you watched, I think it was this weekend, they had the Secretary of the Interior on, who was basically backing up the fact that, it was vandals. But even Janine Pirro, not being the legal scholar that she thinks she is, understands that if you take this before a judge and it's frivolous and you already know that it's false, well, hey, even at 75, they can still take away her law license. So this might have been a self-preservation thing, but remember, Trump doesn't give a shit about your self-preservation. That's what got Bondi. And that's what we'll get now. Todd Blanche probably doesn't have those limitations. He's probably more like who was the fixer that Trump had. He'll do anything, loses his law license and doesn't give a shit.
Michael Cohen.
Cohen, yeah.
Michael Cohen?
Yeah. So there you have it, Tammy.
All right. So
we're also back on Greenland. Just not to cut you off, but Trump has also reinvigorated the Greenland thing that we've got to have it, and we're going to have it by 2029. So as you say, Mark, any terrible idea is, and apparently when the European Union, they were bringing troops over preparing literally to blow up the airstrips and to defend Greenland from an American invasion that might have been coming, they also brought blood with them. They were prepared for real injury, and a real military conflict. So they weren't joking around.
Yeah. But they don't have to worry about that. We don't have any weapons anymore.
Apparently, I was listening to Robert Pape on one of his many shows, and I can put the um, it might have been Mario Nawal, and I can put the show in the link in the comments. And according to Professor Pape, we have plenty of dumb bombs, and you can strap a backpack with a GPS onto these, and it will become a rather clunky but guidable smart missile.
Okay.
So that we can do.
All right, fair enough. Thank you,
Yep.
Professor Pape. So if you guys, by the way, heard a little noise before, that was my head exploding when Mark said that that Trump did pretty good in his first term. Bill Barr was the attorney general. I forget, he had Whitaker there for a little while, I think, who was just nothing but a Trump thug, elevated to a position that he never should have been in. And of course, the first one, Mr. Magoo, where's he from again? Alabama or someplace like that. And yeah, and, because he recused himself, which was the appropriate thing to do. He lost his job. But just I don't want to redo the first administration, but the Todd Blanche versus Bill Barr someday may actually be a pretty good competition to see who would bend over backwards. Barr did find his level, but it was only after Trump was voted out of office. I don't know if he was planning to stay for the second term. It had Trump won in 2024, but the things that he had done to keep him there, which included putting together an army of undesignated, ununiformed thugs to drive around Portland and Seattle and kidnap anybody wearing black, hog-tie them and throw them in the back of an unmarked van and take them for a wild ride. That's Bill Barr's legacy. The guys without the name tags and the designation of where they came from, mostly the Bureau of Prisons, standing outside the Capitol at one point while Trump was cowering in the basement in the bathroom, in the bathtub, afraid that the angry mob was going to come after him, which really needs to happen again. That's Bill Barr's legacy, and also completely changing what Robert Mueller said about the Russian investigation, and claiming that he had found no wrongdoing on the part of Trump or the Trump campaign. Completely the opposite. And by the way, perjured himself in front of the Senate when the Senate asked him questions about it, because he had completely mischaracterized what the findings of that investigation were, and said that he had talked to Mueller about it, or had not talked to Mueller about it, and Mueller said, "Yeah, I sent him a letter saying how angry he was about that, changing the entire focus of the investigation." But let's go back to Todd Blanche for a second before we move on to Pirro, because Blanche, in my opinion, will do anything. I don't think he's got a bottom. And I don't think Trump being, voted out of office at some point, or just term limited out of office, would ever stop him from doing everything that he could to keep Trump in office should Trump decide, you know what, I wasn't going to leave last time, I'm not going to leave this time, I've learned my lessons, I'm going to go full insurrection act and do everything that he needs to do. This $1.8 billion would never have been seen by those people, because it seems to me what that is he's going to dangle that in front of them and say, this money is yours, but you have to do it again, and this time you got to do it right. And these people who have already proven themselves to have no morals, to have no compunction against using violence against police officers, to attack the Capitol and desecrate the Capitol, to going in there with with ties to tie up Nancy Pelosi and Pence and anybody else that they grabbed, and bring them out, and Lord knows what. I mean, I don't think that they were hanging anybody off that particular news, but there's certainly plenty of light poles and things like that and trees in Washington, D.C. that you could have seen a really damaging insurrection. The Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers had a hotel right across the Potomac with vans that were loaded with weapons and ready to go should Trump declare the insurrection acts, and so they can cross into Washington, D.C., fully armed and ready to do his bidding. All of that stuff was avoided, but it probably won't be avoided again. And Todd Blanche will do anything he has to do to try to make that happen. And that anti-weaponization fund is the little bait, the herring that they're going to dangle over those people to make sure that they do it again. They won't see it until Trump 3, but that money will be dangled in front of them. As far as what's her name is concerned, the wine swilling Janine Pirro, I imagine that her job is safe just because it's such an inconsequential job. He's angry at her, but I don't think he's that angry that he would shake that up. She's already proven herself willing to do whatever he wants to do. Look, if there's no case, there's no case. There was no case, So I don't know exactly what you're supposed to do. You can only play these games for so long, and I don't know why they continue to play them. If they know that they're not going, they're not getting Comey, they're not getting Letitia James, they're not getting some of these other people that they want to go after. They managed to get themselves a little pelt with John Bolton. Everybody hates John Bolton on both sides now. And Trump can say that it's vandalism all he wants. He can put up pictures of AI generated examples of vandalism, but I think that this guy Hearn is going back home and he doesn't have to worry about it anymore. But who knows? Because as I said before, nothing is ever dead with Trump. It could always come back again. Green land will come back again. Everything else that you can think of he'll bring it back. I mean, he brought back, what's his name, the sloppy look of Steve Bannon, right? He brought him back. He'll bring back Stone if he needs him. He'll do anything. And there you go. That's all I have to say about that.
All right. So in my defense, I did not say that they were all good picks in the first term. I said he had some good picks. And, let's face it, what's his name? That was the head of Exxon, who was the Secretary of State.
He was an awful Secretary of State, but go on.
But he was better. He's better than what he's got now. And hey, you got to like a guy that sat in a meeting and called Trump a fucking idiot. I mean, you got to like a guy like that. Obviously he knows what he's talking about. So yeah, not all of them were good, of course not. But I mean, compared to this time around, RFK Jr. and some of these other absolute smokies that he's got in there is just absolutely incredible. But I agree. I don't think there's going to be a Trump 3. I'm not there yet. I'm not there to say that there's going to be a Trump 3.
Will he be alive at that time?
Will he be alive at that time? I couldn't say. I mean, there's a lot of question about his health.
Yes.
Well, yeah. I mean, but
20 years on us.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well,
we're old then.
Yeah, well, this is true. I don't know if he will or not. Maybe. But if he's alive, he's still in office, which he will be, he's going to want to keep it. He wants to be Trump for life. Yeah. You know what, Scott, you may be correct, but when you've got a average of 33% approval rating, and you're not even really all that hot with your own Republican Party, no matter what you say.
I don't know about that, but
well, I mean, again, that's what That's what polls are saying. I mean, who knows? But who trusts polls? The fact is that, he's not a popular president, and
he wasn't the first time. I mean, he killed 1 million Americans with COVID. The economy was in shambles, and he still seemed to think that he should be the president of the United States again. So that part of it's not going away. I don't think anybody tells him what his poll numbers are. He thinks that they're great, and they find a way to show him, that one outlier poll, Rasmussen, that only counts people who are sitting in a bar at 2:00 in the afternoon playing Keno with a pack of Pall Malls in front of them. Those are the only people they bother polling, and that's where his poll numbers come from. But he doesn't know he's an unpopular president. He thinks he's the greatest thing since sliced bread, and the people around him all adore him, and that's all that matters to him. He's not. Look, I believe you were taking this position in Trump 1. He's not going away. He's not leaving. And I don't know how he fell short of this in 2021 on January 6th. I don't know what made him not go all the way, but he didn't go all the way.
That's true.
But I think he lived to regret not going all the way, because I think maybe in the back of his mind, he was thinking, you know what, there's other ways I could do this, and I'm going to do it those other ways. And look, I mean, the guy's not wrong. He came back. He's back in office now. So he managed it. He had 4 years where he had to manipulate the Republican Party and defeat Biden's agenda as much as he possibly could, which included, by the way, immigration reform. And he did that from Mar-a-Lago.
Yep.
He was essentially the president of the United States from Mar-a-Lago, in that he could influence legislation and tell the Republican Party what they needed to do to stay on his good side. And they did it. Anything he wanted to do. So he was and he was still talking to Putin and still talking to Bibi Netanyahu. And he just, he was president. He was not president in name only.
Right.
And that's that was only those 4 years. And the rest of the time since he came down that escalator, he has been the president of the United States.
I would agree. He probably did the calculation, or somebody did the calculation, because I don't think he has the wherewithal to do it, to say, and you're correct, he had an awful lot of power and used that power while he wasn't in office. And maybe that's what the calculation was. Hey, you can still be very relevant because the Republican Party's a bunch of wussies, and this is the way it's going to go. That's very possible, and I could definitely agree with that. It's just, I don't know. I stay with the idea that the system will hold, and that he'll be stopped by the system somehow. I hate to say that it might be the military. Might very well be. But because I still think we have a lot of honorable people in the military. And unfortunately, we're going to have to see how it plays out. The question is going to be, and let's look at it from the standpoint of reality. The reality is that in November of 2026, we have midterm elections. The people of the United States could make a huge change here and ensure that Donald Trump does not try any shenanigans in 2028. And Janine Pirro, go back to having wine and go back on whatever show on Fox you were at and whatever.
That's funny, wine swilling.
Oh, I'll tell you, if you've never seen Saturday Night Live, do the impression of her. Oh God, it's funnier than hell. Oh my God, it's so funny.
It is. I forget who plays her, but she's like sloshing the wine out of the glass all over the set and everything.
Falling off her chair, getting Colin Jost wet. Oh yeah. And that's all the time we have for today's episode. The Nova Society is a production of Nova Society Media, a division of the Phoenix Research Institute. We want to thank our production partners, Buzzsprout, who hosts the Nova Society, Audacity, our editing team, Apple Podcasts, the largest source of podcast and music online, Spotify, the most popular platform for the Nova Society, and iHeartRadio, your destination for all things music and podcasting. The Nova Society is available on all of these and other quality platforms listed in our description. And most importantly, we want to thank you, our listeners. Without your support, the Nova Society could not be possible. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing on the platform of your choice. It's easy, it's free, and helps our channel grow. For questions or comments, you can reach us at nova.society.podcast@gmail.com. So on behalf of Dr. Brooklyn Ann Weldon, Dr. Scott Gershworth, and all of our production partners here at the Nova Society, I'm Dr. Mark Bound. Remember, the true power of society is knowledge. Thank you for listening, and we hope to see you again next time. We'd like to thank our sponsor for this episode, the Phoenix Research Group, an independent research consortium dedicated to providing solutions to social and political issues for NGOs and international government agencies. Through multidisciplinary, nonpartisan, and unbiased research, the Phoenix Research Group advances understanding and practical strategies for complex challenges. The Phoenix Research Group is a division of the Phoenix Research Institute, the producer of the Nova Society podcast.